game, make a game, what's a game, what's a name? I'm a Kamen Rider.
What's up, everybody? It's the Quarter Guy, and so I got some things to talk about for today, but I might as well start with the big one right away. Remember back a couple years back in 2017, where Nintendo had probably one of the best E3s they've had in quite some time? And they blew minds with a single number. Yeah, it was the announcement of Metroid Prime 4. An announcement that kind of took me by surprise, and quite a lot of people too, and it got a lot of people excited. But ever since then, there had been like a bunch of radio silence. No sign of gameplay, no development updates, nothing. That changed this past week, when Nintendo unexpectedly released a development update video regarding the status of the game. In it, the director of the game, I forgot his name, came on and said that with the development of the game, it was not at a point where they wanted it to be. It was not at their standards of quality. So basically what they were doing, in apology to the fans, that they're basically throwing what they've got in the trash can and pretty much starting over. And they're also, and in doing so, they're teaming up with the development team behind the original Metroid Prime trilogy, that being Retro Studios. And so that they can deliver a game that meets the expectations of Metroid fans who have been waiting for a game like this for quite some time. Now, for those of you who don't know, I believe the previous studio that was developing the game was Namco Bandai, though that might have been just hearsay, but I actually read that development had been taking place across multiple teams, across multiple countries, and for some teams it was smooth sailing, and for others it was pretty much a dumpster fire. So, feels like it was a case of too many cooks in the kitchen, so probably better to just admit they screwed up, start over fresh, and deliver the kind of game that fans are hoping for. And while I am sad that this is probably going to delay the game towards the end of the Switch's lifespan, at the same time, however, I do want to see the game actually be, you know, really good instead of rushed out and mediocre at best. But more importantly, for Nintendo to come out and admit they screwed up with development and that they're willing to take the quality of the game as seriously as they are, it's actually kind of refreshing. I mean, you don't really see that too often with a lot of developers, that admitting that things aren't going as they had hoped and just starting fresh. The fact that Nintendo's just coming out and saying it kind of sets a bar for other developers. Hopefully, we can see that kind of transparency with other developers in the future. In fact, that might have happened with other developers in the past, but I don't know, honestly, if I haven't quite seen that to that extent. But I'm glad Nintendo is being honest about that, and judging from the like-dislike ratio on the update video, that seems to be the case with a lot of other people. I'm sure that if developers are this honest and transparent about the quality of their games and serious about putting out the best games they can, I'm sure that this kind of transparency would be appreciated by fans. So, that's how I feel about the whole matter. Still sad that it's going to be a long time before we get the game, but I've got a feeling it's going to be worth it in the end. I've seen a couple tweets compare it to how in the Metroid Prime games, Samus started out with a bunch of powers and lost them and gathered them all back and became stronger than ever, so that's how it is. And let's hope it's a good game. Another thing that's been going on, in fact, the day that I'm recording this, in fact, it's the final event of the Dragon Ball FighterZ World Tour, the Red Bull Final Summoning, and we got a couple announcements off of that. First one being the existence of the FighterZ Pass 2, which was accidentally leaked by Namco Bandai of Europe. And there's going to be 6 fighters in total for that, 4 of which were revealed with the leak. Trains outside, it sounds like. Or the plow. Whatever it is. But anyways, the 4 fighters revealed were Jiren from Dragon Ball Super, Videl, Dragon Ball Super Broly, and Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta. The other 2 are yet unknown, but this is rather kind of predictable for a selection of fighters, except for, of course, Videl. I'm actually surprised Videl's getting into Dragon Ball FighterZ before Hercule does. That's actually kind of funny. And also, officially revealed at the event was the action RPG that was teased at the Dragon Ball Special Spectacular, or whatever it was, the one that gave us the first trailer for Dragon Ball Heroes World Mission. At that event, they teased a Dragon Ball action RPG called Project Z. And the initial trailer reveal was dropped at the event today by the voice actors promoted by the voice actors of Goku and Vegeta, those being Sean Schemmel and Christopher Sabat. And it looks like a cinematic action RPG that goes through the late moments of the original Dragon Ball, and the trailer goes up to the Frieza saga, so we've yet to see like real gameplay of it, but the cinematics look like they're in progress, if I'm gonna be honest here. To be perfectly honest, yeah. But I'm looking forward to see how the whole thing develops. I couldn't be any worse than Dragon Ball Z sagas, that's for sure. So, anyways, updates. So, alright, so, yesterday, Saturday, January 26th, I released the remake of my top 10 opening levels, and at the end I teased I'm starting a brand new series, like I think I actually mentioned it last week, but I'm starting with retrospectives of arcade games, and I'm starting with probably the most obvious one, that being Pac-Man, of course. So that's going to be my big project for February. Hopefully it'll be something of a start of a bit of a reinvention of sorts. I want to do the kinds of videos that I like to do, regardless of how much the algorithm screws me over. But anyways, also, January 30th is the 10th anniversary of the Vocaloid Luca Megurine, so I'd like to do something on Twitch for that, so keep an eye out for that. Anyways, for my question of the week, what are your thoughts on the Metroid Prime 4 delay and Nintendo's transparency? As always, leave your answers in the comments. Favorite comments will be featured in the next episode. Here are last week's winners. And with that, time for the fourth wall mailbag. As always, look for the community post, send me your questions there, and I'll answer my favorites in the next episode. First question this week comes from Sarasalan Subservient, who asks, since Mortal Kombat 11 is coming to Switch, would you say there's any possibility for MK DLC characters in Smash? Well, considering that Joker's already going to be in the game, and that Persona 5 wasn't even on Switch, I'd say close to anything possible except for exclusives from Sony and Microsoft, and even Microsoft's a little bit up in the air for that, because I think one of the guys at Xbox said they'd have no objections with Banjo and Kazooie being in the game. So I would say that a Mortal Kombat character is at least somewhat in the realm of possibility. As for who it would be, that one's easy. I mean, it's pretty obvious they put in Scorpion. I mean, Scorpion is pretty much he's become the poster boy of the character for the past few games, ever since the reboot. It's like, and I mean, Scorpion is Ed Boon's favorite. I think he's actually come out and said that. Well, has he said that? I don't know. He might have, but considering he's pretty much the poster boy for the series, it wouldn't surprise me that if an MK character got in, that it would be Scorpion. Yeah. Next question comes from Aurier Ballardier, who asks, which SNK character do you think would have the best shot of making it into Smash Ultimate? Another Smash question, huh? There's really 3 major possibilities for that one. First being Terry Bogard, who's like pretty much the first poster boy for the Neo Geo, considering that Fatal Fury was the first fighting game for the platform, and he's pretty much an iconic character for the company, especially considering he's a mainstay in the King of Fighters series. The second would be Geese Howard, Terry's nemesis. I mean, he's an iconic fighting game villain, and the fact that he was also in Tekken 7 is kind of an indicator of Geese's popularity. So, besides, it'd be really cool to hear Geese's theme in Smash, not gonna lie. And the third character I would consider a possibility from SNK would be Kyo Kusanagi, the poster boy for the King of Fighters franchise. I mean, he's been in KOF since '94, and like Terry and Geese, he's pretty much an icon of the company. And in fact, someone made a tweet saying they'd like to see Kyo get into Smash so that they could have like a reveal that's similar to the old KOF intros, you know, with Kyo grabbing the invitation and burning it in his hands with his flames. That would be sick to see, not gonna lie. Next question comes from E. Blanco, who asks, since Capcom brought back Mega Man, what other Capcom franchise would you like to see come back? Even as a casual fighting game fan, I still think that Darkstalkers got done dirty. I mean, think back to Darkstalkers Resurrection. It was during that time that they said that Capcom wouldn't consider making a sequel to a game unless it sold like 2 million, which is honestly a ridiculous figure for any game that isn't a tentpole release, which nowadays would be something like Devil May Cry or Monster Hunter. And it also doesn't help that Darkstalkers Resurrection was marketed rather not good. It wasn't marketed well at all. So, I feel that with the proper marketing and the proper promotion, a Darkstalkers comeback would be very much welcomed by fighting game fans alike. You know, as long as the fighting game division doesn't, you know, completely screw it up. Marvel Infinite. Alright, last question of the week comes from Digimon Pokemon, who asks, when are you going to talk about Danganronpa? I have to play it first.